This is in John 10. You don't go there, just follow on screen. This is the call these are the unbelieving Jews where Jesus had literally revealed who he was. This is who I am. He had done miracles and healings, and they had known that he was the Christ, and everybody's talking about it. But the religious Jews were still unbelieving. They did not believe that he was the Christ. So look what they say to him. The Jews gathered around him, and he said, how long are you going to keep us in suspense, Jesus? Like, if you're the Christ, tell us plainly. Can you just tell us? And look what Jesus said. I've told you, and you do not believe. The works that I do in my Father's name bear witness about me. He says, listen, he says, I've told you. You've heard it. Now look at the reason why they don't believe. You do not believe because you are not part of my flock. You are not my sheep. Let's go back. Look at the order of that. Go back to 26, please. Look at the order of that text. You don't believe. The reason that you don't believe me, the reason you haven't responded is because you are not my sheep. What he did not say, you are not my sheep because you don't believe. That would tell you that it is dependent upon man in order to be called by God. And it is not dependent upon man. It is the decreed will of God. He said, these will be my flock. You will be my sheep. You are not my sheep. This is God's predetermined plan. All right? It is who it is. And if you've been called and you've been secured, here's what we keep telling you. Go to 27. Those who God called, I give them eternal life. My sheep hear my voice, and they know me. They follow me. 28. I give them eternal life, and they will never perish, and no one will snatch them out of my hand. My sheep, the ones I call, the ones I've foreknown and predetermined will believe, they always come. They come. They follow me because I've made the call effectual. It is a personal call to them. When I get up and I share the gospel on Sunday, I'm giving general calls. There's no power in me to make you have salvation. Can't do it. I give a general call. When you go evangelize and you go execute the Great Commission, which I hope that you are, and you're sharing Jesus with people, let me tell you what your role is. You give the general call. You don't give the effectual call. God is the one who takes that and is going to make it personal. Now look at 1 Corinthians when Paul says this. You and I, here's what we do. We preach Christ crucified. We preach Christ crucified. We just tell people about the gospel. But here's what's going to happen. It's going to be a stumbling block to the Jews and folly to the Gentiles. They're not going to believe. They're going to think you're crazy. But to those who are called, effectually called by God, I've called them, they're going to believe you. Both Jews and Greeks, Christ, the power of God and the wisdom of God. He makes the call effectual, not you or me. Think about how that plays when you engage someone with the gospel. Sometimes, we start talking about, hey, go share Jesus, and everybody just locks up. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to fail at this. They're not going to give their life to Jesus because of me. I really want them to have salvation, so I hope I do really, really good at telling them about Jesus. This is an amazing freedom in your evangelistic efforts. You don't get to dictate the effectual call. You give the general call. It is the decreed will of God. Who's going to believe and who is not? You don't know who it is. I don't know who it is. It's not your job to do that. It is your job to give the general call of Christ crucified. That should be freedom for you. It's not dependent upon you. You don't get to celebrate the victory in it, and you don't get to take the guilt and the shame of somebody rejecting God. They're either receiving God or rejecting God, not you. That should change everything about your evangelism.